Hey guys, welcome to Entertainment Talk Nation. This is Rob. This video we're going to discuss some more Godzilla sequel, and the question is, will Mothra be the sole kaiju in the sequel to the Godzilla trilogy? Now, interesting thing is, an article came out about a couple of days before the movie released back in May, and I completely forgot about this article. So I want to thank Chase Wagner from The Nation for bringing this up to me a couple of days ago. And it was an interesting interview with Max Bornstein. Basically, MTV was interviewing him regarding Godzilla Awakening graphic novel that released before the movie. And at the time, this wasn't a confirmation. This wasn't a... it was just speculation. But he mentioned in the article how he feels that a lot of the kaijus from Toho could fit into their universe. And he mentioned Mothra and how Mothra could be Godzilla's Joker in the sequel. So I thought it was an interesting article at the time, but even more interesting now that we have confirmation that Mothra will be in one of the next two movies. So how would you guys feel if Mothra was in the sequel and was a villain? You know, it's interesting. I wouldn't mind it so much, but I think the issue they might have here is that, if I'm not mistaken, you know, the Japanese culture is pretty fond of Mothra. So I don't know how they would take to Mothra being a villain. I mean, she was kind of, you know, displayed as a villain in her first original film back in the 60s, but not really. Like, kind of like just the surrounding area were just... they happened to be destroyed while she was out looking for the twins. So, but this would be her being a full-fledged villain. I mean, when you're talking about being Godzilla's Joker, or when you're putting her in that term, and I'm not saying literal, of course, but basically that's making her a villain. That's making her a villain. So, pretty interesting. Pretty interesting. So, how that would play out? Well, I got to tell you one thing. If that's the direction they're going to go in, you're definitely not going to see any twins. And you're definitely not going to see her being some sort of deity. And there's that whole Mothra goodness. Let's sing the Mothra song, the cosmos, and she loves people. That shit is out the window. I mean, that's out the window. This Mothra sounds like she's going to come to destroy. And Godzilla might have his hands full. Who knows? He's had his hands full in the past with Mothra, so it wouldn't be any different now. But again, I think that if they do try to keep some of her tradition, I said it in my last video, and I'll say it again, I really think that the best way to try and do the twin thing is to have like these twin adults, regular size, not short, and they could be two female or a male and a female, however way they want to do it. And they just happen to worship Mothra and worship her destruction. And they develop a cult, a following. And it makes, I think, in my personal opinion, it makes it pretty intriguing, because then you give the humans some conflict on the ground level, which I think would be a little bit more of a compelling story than what we got. And then on top of that, you have Godzilla dealing with Mothra. So, yeah, I mean, it's definitely, now, there's no guarantee they're going to go that route. You know, he again, at the time this interview was made, it was just speculation, but who knows? I mean, these guys, I said it before, I think they've had this universe developed for a while already, and I think Max Bornstein and Gareth Edwards already have some ideas up their sleeve as to how they would implement this. I'm sure they felt pretty good that they would probably get the rights to other monsters, and Mothra being one of them. I mean, again, her Easter eggs were all over the place in the first movie. She had the most Easter eggs. And again, going back to the media visitation on the set last year, around this time last year, when multiple media outlets reported that the Mothra Easter eggs, the staff talking about Mothra, a lot of the staff liking Mothra, or just kind of like tongue-in-cheek about it. So, you know, this might have been something that's been developed already, or not developed, but something that's already been a whisper in the wind, and the ideas are already tossed up there. And now that they have the kaiju, that's probably where they're going to go. It would kind of make some sense in some ways for her to be the sole second kaiju in the second movie, because we all recognize that for the most part, Godzilla and Rodan have been allies. So, and I do feel that if Godzilla is going to face off against Ghidorah in the third movie, I don't think he can do it alone. So I think, you know, just speculating that Mothra will be the villain in the second movie, and the third movie will be Ghidorah being the main villain and Rodan probably being an adversary of Godzilla, and then, you know, natural instincts coming together to fight Ghidorah because he's a bigger threat to both of them. Not like they communicate it just happens that way. Like, they're not looking at each other like buddies, but they're looking at each other like, all right, let's deal with this guy and then we'll finish our business later type deal. So that'll be interesting as well. But, you know, at the end of the day, we don't know. I know there's some people who think that all three monsters are going to be in the second movie, and from what I understand, I don't think it's going down like that. If it did, I mean, to me, that says Ghidorah the three-headed monster all over again. I don't think they're going that route. Whether or not they add Rodan to the second movie would be interesting, but I mean, if they're going to shape up Mothra to be like this big villain like the Joker was, I can't see where Rodan would fit into that story. But again, just speculation. But anyway, I'll leave the link to that old article in the description if you guys haven't checked it out. Yeah, it came out May 12th, so about 4 days before the release of the movie. Max Bornstein was talking about this with MTV. And again, I remember reading it at the time, but I didn't even think about it until Chase brought it up to me on The Nation a couple of days ago. So I decided, wow, this is interesting. Let's discuss this. So what are your thoughts? How do you feel about Mothra being a big-time villain, potentially in the second movie, to face off against Godzilla, and then perhaps having Rodan and Ghidorah finish off the series in the third flick? This is Rob signing off for E.T.N, where we don't do news, we just talk entertainment. Take it easy.
Thank you for watching E.T.N. Don't forget to subscribe and join the Nation Facebook page.